Hello everyone and welcome to the new Reporters Template webinar. My name is Rory Bradshaw and I'll be taking this webinar today. You might actually recognize my voice because I also produce the top tips videos that we release monthly, giving top tips on all of the Oasis suite. So that's Primer, D3 Plot, THIS and Reporter. And today we'll be looking at Reporter. I'll just say a quick hello also to anyone who might be watching this back later because we post all of our videos onto YouTube. So if you're in the webinar just now and there's something you want to be reminded of or go over, then look out for that when it's released. And if you're watching it back later, then hello to you. For now though, you're all going to be muted, but please do feel free to ask questions. You can do that in the chat box in the side of the webinar window, and I'll try and address those near the end of the webinar. Now to start with, I just want to address what Reporter is. Some of you should be familiar with it, but just in case you're not, I thought I'd give you a quick pointer as to how you can become more familiar. So firstly, I'm going to go to the Oasis Reporter webpage, and here you can see an overview of Reporter as well as information about the software, tutorials and webinars, training, documentation, and actually how to get hold of this, downloading it. So firstly, I'll click on tutorials and webinars here. This is where you can look at all of our tutorials and webinars coming up, as well as some specific to Reporter. And actually, you can see this was the one we're giving now. So the latest Reporters template. And if I click view there, you'll see a picture of me. And this is the webinar that's happening just now. I'll also just point out the next one that's on the schedule is 23rd of February. And that's the Introduction to Structured ALE in LS-DYNA. And that one's going to be given by Robin. So do sign up for that if you want to. Now, if I click on this documentation button, I'll see the release notes for 18.1 and 18.0 and also down to 17. And if I click on this 18.1 new features, then we can see a PDF open up, and this is all of the new features in the latest Reporter. And what we're going to be focusing on this webinar is the Automotive Library Templates. While we're here, I'll also point out the Oasis Reporter overview YouTube video. And here we have a video which covers all of the key components of Reporter, giving a brief introduction to them. And we're going to be focusing on these Automotive Library Templates. And you can actually access that through some of the quick links down here. So this one is the brief intro at 24 minutes. And essentially these templates are provided for you to make it easier to post-process automotive analyses. So whether it's a barrier impact or a pedestrian leg or head impact. And you can see that it uses all of the color schemes which are consistent with the Encap protocols, and we support the China Encap as well as Euro Encap and some other protocols like Gtr. And basically these templates are used to post-process analysis and extract all of the results to save you time and to give you a consistent reproduction of results for comparison or for presenting to your teams. So I'll now go back to that Reporter 18 new features document. And here we can see all of the new releases as well as some of the updates to the templates that we have provided for automotive reporting. So firstly, the main difference is that we've added some China Encap protocols that didn't have previously. So we've added the Occupant assessment for 2022, as well as the head impact and leg impact assessments for pedestrians. We've also added a Euro Encap Occupant assessment, which is the 2020 version. And we've updated some of the pedestrian head and leg impacts and provided a pedestrian leg impact GTR template as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a high level of each of these and then look at a few of them in more detail to demonstrate how you might use them in practice. So firstly, the Mpdb compatibility assessment templates. These are used to automate the post-processing of Mpdb compatibility assessment, and they give an overall score and present the results with some helpful graphics, as well as using the appropriate scoring protocols for both the Euro and China Ncap, and providing the relevant curves. Additionally, as of the latest version of Reporter, we actually can save out some animations of the analyses. And these will be visible if you save out to a file type like a PowerPoint, which can be really useful when you're presenting to your teams to give a quick overview of what's going on and to help you check the believability of the results without having to dive into D3plot. So we already had the Euro Ncap compatibility assessments, and we've added the China Ncap compatibility assessments. And you'll see that we have 2 years for both of these. So the reason for this is because there's been a slight change in the scoring between those years. So we've prepared one ready for the 2023 assessment, which will be moved to. So for any cars that are being manufactured that will require that particular protocol. And as I've mentioned, the templates now feature animations of the simulations, and the results are also exported helpfully to a CSV format, which is consistent with the standard used in the protocols. If you want to do further analysis as well, that can be really useful. Furthermore, there's also an additional user guide provided in Reporter to help you use these templates. Additionally, we've also released an Mpdb occupant assessment template, and these are for both China Ncap and the Euro Ncap protocols, and they include the Thor occupant post-processing, which is for the first time. We've included some default IDs for Humanetics Thor 50th percentile male version 1.8, and we'll add defaults for others in due course, so please do let us know. But essentially what this means is it just helps you setting up the template for the first time, because you can actually import the default IDs rather than having to manually type them in yourself, and we'll look through that in some of the demonstrations. Next, we've got the Pedestrian head impact templates, and these have been updated for the Euro Ncap and to a newer 2023 version, which also includes the cyclist impact points, as per the Vulnerable Road User Protection Assessment Protocol version 11. We've also added a brand new China Ncap head impact for 2021, and this follows the Cncap Management Regulations for 2021. So if you want to just check any of these protocols, you can actually click on these links if you go to that new features PDF that I showed you at the beginning of this webinar. And then from Primer 18.1 and from Primer 18.1 onwards, we've also updated the pedestrian markup tools to support the new Euro Ncap and China Ncap protocols, and they're required to generate the LST files, and these are used for both input to analysis and input for Reporter templates. And this is because some templates, such as these ones, use multiple analyses to actually generate their results. And this is especially useful because it saves you a lot of time post-processing and comparing results across different analyses. We've also got the Pedestrian Leg Impact Templates and using the Apply Impactor, which has been included from 2023 version of the Euro Ncap, and that uses, again, the Vulnerable Road User Protection Assessment Protocol version 11. And then there's a new Cncap Leg Impact 2021 template, which follows the China Ncap Management Regulations of 2021, and this also includes Apply Impactor assessments. And just as with the pedestrian heads, the markup tool has been updated to generate the required LST file for the analyses and for post-processing as an input to Reporter. And lastly, we've also included a new Gtr Leg Impact template to complement the existing Gtr Head Impact template. This one uses a FlexPly impactor for the lower leg assessments, and you can run the template separately for upper leg as well. Furthermore, this template is also generic in the sense that it can handle impact points with any spacing, and so the summary page is really useful for displaying these spacings and the impact results visually on the vehicle. Okay, so now that's a quick overview of really all of the new templates that we've got as of the latest release. We also have some new ones coming in version 19, so do look out for them. So we've got some IIHS templates that will be added, as well as some new Euro Ncap protocols, specifically looking at the far side impact. Now we're going to look at some of the new automotive templates and go through some demonstrations. When you open up Reporter, you'll see a window that looks like this, with some standard templates that you can choose from and make your own. For these demonstrations, we're going to look at the automotive ones, so I'll select the Automotive tab, and then you can filter down by various different assessments. In this case, I'm going to select the China Ncap regulations here, and you can see all those available. Firstly, I'm going to look at the Mpdb 2022 Occupant Assessment, so I'll double click on that and it will open up. The first thing that will appear is a window asking me to select the job file or keyword file. So I select OK, and then I'll find the keyword file in my directory. Reporter checks the keyword file to see if there's any post*n data, which might be useful as inputs to the Reporter template. If it can't find this, it asks you if you have a CSV file with the information instead. In this case, I'm going to select No, and this will open up a primer session which will allow me to input the data manually. Once the model has opened up, an input window will appear with various inputs that will be used by Reporter to generate the results. As you can see, it's pre-populated the dummies for the driver and the passenger. Here we have a Humanetics Thor 50th percentile male and a Humanetics 5th percentile female. I can see immediately that these IDs are valid because they're in white. However, if you notice, the passenger also shares the same IDs, so I will need to offset them or change the dummy. To do this, I'll first minimize this window and just check what dummy is used in this model. I'm now going to go to the part tree and scroll down until I can see the dummies. So first I see this Humanetics Thor 50 percentile male. I'll right click and sketch, and I can see that there we have the driver. So I'll just pan around. And then next I can see two which have this transform, and I can actually see hovering over that this one is the passenger, and that's include number 38. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the include tree, scroll down to 38, select here transform edit, and I can see that there's an offset provided, so I'm going to copy that, an offset of 3 million. Close this down and reopen the input window. And now I saw there wasn't actually a Humanetics model, it was an LSTC model, 5th percentile female, so I'll select it from the drop down. That changes the numbers here, and we can see that those numbers are now invalid, so they don't correspond to any actual nodes or springs in the model, for example. So I need to input the offset, so I'll just paste that in there, our 3 million, and select import IDs from CSV file with offset. And we can see that those have updated, as well as going white, so we know that they're valid. Lastly, we can see a few more red inputs down the bottom, so if I scroll down, we can see that we need to input some stuff for the steering column, and these have already been created in the database history, so I can just select them. So first I'll right click and select A pillar intrusion x-axis, then right click, and here I'll get the steering intrusion X spring, Y spring, and Z spring. Then I have the acceleration pedal intrusion spring, so I'll just get that. And that's the X one. Now I need the Z one here. So it's really helpful if these have been well named in the creation of the model. Then I need some brake springs, so I need the X brake spring and the Z brake. And because I've got the brakes, I can actually leave the clutches blank there, so that's actually okay. You either have the brake or the clutch on. And now what I can do is I can click Save as CSV, and I can choose the name of that. I'm happy with this name, so I can click Save as CSV, and that means that I can use this CSV later on if I want to regenerate the template, rather than having to go through this process manually. Once I do this, it will close down and it will kick me back to Reporter. And now I'm prompted to select the directory containing the analysis results. And this might be the same as where the keyword is, but it isn't always the case. So that's why it's prompted you to do this now. In this case, it is the same, So I'll just select the folder and continue. Now I want to write out the images, and similarly this might be convenient to write it out to somewhere if you're choosing. So select this pre-created image folder, select that folder and let it run. At this point it fires up a this session and you can watch it create all of the curves and results, or you can go and grab yourself a coffee and come back. Once it's finished, Reporter will ask you if you'd like to save out your results to various formats. In this case, I'm just going to select cancel and let the report finish generating so we can view it here. And now we can see, using the scroll wheel, we can go through all the pages of the report and see all of those images of the graphs and results are created for us, as well as the summary of the results. Here we can see that the capping limit's been exceeded, so that's why the score is 0, as well as images of the driver and passenger. On the second page, there's also a button here to do setting modifiers, and we can input various values here and it will update the results. So we might want to give -1 for a contact in the steering column. And these are some sort of subjective modifiers that we need to go and actually look at in the analyses. So it's changed the value there, and because the score was already 0, it didn't change the total score there. Okay, next we're going to look at the Cncap Head Impact Template. So you can actually do Control-Shift-O to open up the templates again, and because we'd already selected them previously, that will be it will pop up as it was pre-filtered, and we can see that the recent file that we used there is on the left-hand side. So I'm now going to select the Cncap Head Impact, and now it asks us to provide an LST file. At this point, I'm going to go to the directory where the analysis was conducted and just check that I have all of the LST files present as well as the correct data in them. So I'm going to open up the directory, and I can see here that I have adult head, child head, and cyclist head impact LSTs. And I'm going to right click and in this case just open with a text viewer, expand that out. And we can see we have information already contained about some head nodes as well as the units of the model and some variables setting up the zone, X, Y coordinates, angle, and Z coordinates for loads of different analyses. And the main thing to check here is that your path to the file is actually correct. So in this case, I'm locating this in C reporter demos. So what I need to do is I actually need to find and replace this QA with reported demos. So I'll just do that now. Edit, find and replace, and I got QA there. And for good measure, I'm actually just going to add in the C just so that it doesn't accidentally replace any other QAs that might be present. And then reported demos, and I'll pop back in the C there. And so I'll just check it's working. I'll go replace, 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 and then I'll click replace all. So I'm happy with that now. And now I can save this file and close it. I'll then quickly do the same with the child impact and the cyclist. Great. So now I've got those files present. I can tick to show that I'm selecting them all. And I'll also leave this last box ticked, which is essentially just a check to see that the analysis have normal terminated. And we only want to really present the results for those that have, so that we don't get misleading results. Now click OK. And then now we have to select the LST files for this, firstly the adult head. So I'll go back up to reported demos into post 303 and then adult head here. I'll select that. So it tells me that it's managed to find some of the data in the list file, and it just is checking that I'm happy to use that. So I'll select yes, and now I need to select for the child. Okay. Same again, yes, I'm happy to use that. And then lastly, the cyclist. Yep, again, happy to use that. Now I need to select the directory to write images and curves to. So in this case, I've got this Cncap image directory, and I'll just select that, and the analysis will start churning away. So it fires up to EHIS, and it will use all those LST files to crunch all those different analyses. Now this is really useful for processing multiple analyses at once, and it would take a long time to do this manually. Now once the analysis is finished, again it will give you options to save out the report in various formats. In this case I'm just going to select cancel and let it finish generating the report. And now we can see very clearly an overall scoring, as well as areas where it scored poorly. For example, the cyclist up here, or in the front of the bonnet, we had some adequate response here. Then we have some images which are extracted from primer, again showing similar results and different ways of presenting the data. You also then have options to input test results and compare these with the analysis results from your LS-DYNA analysis. And you can set your blue point zones as well, similarly. Then we have some curves which give us the HIC values at different grid points, and these are extracted from all of the analyses. Great, so that's the Cncap new head impact assessment template, and this is the 2021 regulations. And hopefully that will be really useful for you if you're doing such an analysis, because it combines the results from so many different results files and presents them clearly for you to interrogate and to focus your attentions on problem areas. Next, I'm going to look at another new template, and this time I'm going to use the Gtr one, and I'm going to select the Leg Impact 2019. Here we're asked to select the leg form, and we select either upper or lower. So in this case I'm doing a lower leg form analysis, so I'll select that and OK. Then I have to choose an LST file, and I need to make sure that the path is correct, so I've already done that. So I'll go to Demos, Lower Leg Form, and then my Lower Leg Points LST file. Next it says that in order to extract the required data, the template requires information such as node IDs, beam IDs, and units, and these are already included in my LST file, so I'm happy to use them. And now I need to select the directory to write the images to. So I'll select the GTR images directory, select folder, and it's going to fire up THIS. Once it's finished processing the results in THIS and T3plot, I'll be prompted again to save the report in any of these formats. I'm just going to click cancel and let it finish generating the report, making all the pages. Now we can see a clear summary and overview of all the impact points as well as their scoring. So we get a poor score in the middle and a good score down the bottom there. And here it's that's the knee and the tibia. So no results for the femur because it's a lower leg analysis in this case. And we can also see it's a fail and what went wrong. So if we look at the next slides, we can see how it's performed in various stages, and we can see, for example, that the ACL went into the poor zone, so exceeded the limits. And it's a really good summary of all of the results for all of these analyses, and a great way of comparing them as well as quickly extracting the data. And again, I've said it before, but the main benefit of these templates is ease of extracting results, so saves you time, and also consistent results, so you know what you're going to get out, you know it's a consistent format, and the results look quite good as well. So that's the GTR Leg Impact Assessment, and I hope that will be useful to some of you. Finally, for the 18.1 templates, I'm going to look at the Euro Encap latest leg template. So I'll toggle on Euro Encap and leg form, and we can see we have 2020 and 2023. So if I double click on 23, it will ask me to select a list file, and I've already got one of these for the lower leg form, and I've already changed the path, so I'll click OK. I'll then click on the lower leg form and open that. And it's telling me that I already have some of the data that it needs in the list file. So I'm happy to use that. Now I need to select the upper leg form list file. So I'll click on that one. Again, it's got the data that I need, so I'll use that. Now I need to select a directory to write the result out to. So I'll select this images folder. And now it fires up THIS and starts extracting the results. Once that's finished, again, it will ask me if I want to save it in any of these formats. I'll just click cancel, let it finish generating. Now we can see the leg impact assessment is completed. We can see where the upper and lower legs performed across the front of the vehicle and the final score as well. And then on the following pages, we can get information about the results along with some of the output curves. Notice also how this is incorporating some of the apply results which weren't previously included. Great, so that's it for the latest templates for 18.1. Next, we're going to look at some of the new templates coming in version 19. So go to Automotive and click on IIHS. So most of the new templates are IIHS, but we'll have some coming in due course in Euro Encap, namely Euro Encap Far Side. So look out for that. So select 2021, and we can see that we've got front ODB, front SOB, and side MDB. And for the front SOB and side MDB, we've also got structure only. For now, I'm just going to quickly look at the IIHS side MDB impact and demonstrate how this one works. So we'll double click it. And just like previously, we're prompted to select the input job file. So I'll click OK. I'll then navigate to the keyword and select it. And now it's telling us that it's found some star end data, so asking if we'd like to use it. In this case, I'll just select yes. And then it's telling me to select the directory where the analysis results are. So that's the same as where the keyword is. Now images and curves. So I'll select this folder, select, and we just wait for it to crunch away. Next, it opens up a D3 plot session to get the cut sections. This is used for the B-pillar intrusion plot. Once the results are finished processing, I'm presented with the option to save the report in various formats like before. In this case, I'll just click cancel and let it finish generating. We can then see that all of the curves have been created. And if we go to the first page, we see this B-pillar intrusion plot. And by default, it's set so that the x-axis is measured relative to the vehicle centerline. We can actually switch that to the driver centerline, and you'll see it change below. We've also now opted to use a rating dial to give a nice visual for the score achieved, as well as clearly displaying the overall rating and the score below. On the next page, there are options to set the head protection rating values, and you can select any of these buttons here and change them individually. And you'll see how those will update on this page along with updating the rating dial and the overall score. You can change the levels of downgrade by increasing them or decreasing them. And you can see how that affects the structural score here. And lastly, there's this option to set the head protection rating, which will take you through a series of questions. For example, in this case, we're being asked if there's adequate head protection system for the driver's head. So this would require looking at the analysis animations to see if the airbag properly deploys. In this case, I'll assume it did. Then we're being asked if there's any contact between the driver and the vehicle. So if there is, then we need to know what kind of contact that is. If the head leaves the vehicle, then that's pretty serious. So that would just be a straight out pour. And next we're being asked for the passenger. In this case, I'll again assume it deployed properly. I'll also assume there's contact, but the head didn't leave the vehicle this time. And the head also didn't contact any non-FMVSS 201 compliant surfaces. So in that case, the passenger comes out as good and the driver comes out as poor. And we can see those two are reflected here along with a score being updated. We've also got a summary of all of the ratings and values from the analysis, as well as all of the relevant curves that we can interrogate. I hope you've enjoyed this course on the latest reporter templates for 18.1, as well as a brief look at what to look forward to for Reporter 19. Now, at the moment, the Oasis LS-DYNA team is offering complimentary spaces on ARP-delivered training courses, so you can register your interest using the link below. You can also keep up to date with our latest news, and you can do that by signing up using the link below. And please do follow us on LinkedIn and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put all of our webinars and other training material on there, so you'll be sure not to miss anything if you're subscribed.